Sport compact cars have had a huge presence in my automotive life, if you will, over the last many years. I mean, look, at one point or another, I had or called my own a Subaru WRX, a Jetta GLI, a Civic Type R, Honda CRX, although it could be argued that that's not exactly sporty, but you know, the point is that I've had a number of sport compact cars, and if all goes well, I mean, I plan to have more in the near future before converting to, well, all electric. Anyway, the point is that I love things that are small, things that are nimble, agile, quick, and I mean, it's so often used as an expression, and I hate using it, but that are fun to drive. But more than just fun, they have to be involving. I have to feel like I'm doing something. I'm participating in the driving experience. And I mean, I can't say out of nowhere, but with far more force than I expected, Hyundai, I don't want to say have taken the lead, but have become extremely important, almost influential when it comes to sport compact cars. I mean, we are a millennia away from the Hyundai Scoop. Remember that? Yeah, and then, okay, so we'll fast forward through a few cars, the Tiburons, and then the Genesis Coupe. Things got really serious when they launched the Genesis Coupe. And just skip forward a little bit, the Veloster fine. But then when N became a thing, I mean, I don't want to bore you with all kinds of things and details and stupidity, as I often do, but last summer I drove an Elantra N line, and it just, because I was not expecting it to be as fun to drive, involving, invigorating, fizz-inducing as it turned out to be. So when the opportunity to drive a full fat N, in fact, I had the choice. I could still drive them both, but I had the choice between a Kona N, but I really didn't like the Kona N line, and the Elantra N. Well, the choice is before you now. This car is, geez. It's so good, but in ways that, like the Elantra N line, are unexpected, and it's the result of a series of decisions on behalf of Hyundai. I say them both because I've been corrected multiple times, no matter which one I say. Unexpected decisions that make it probably not as good as it could be, but because of that, it makes it even better. Anyhow, look, this beauty, and yeah, I will say beauty. I haven't said, you know, when I first came into contact with the Elantra, I don't know, I thought it was a little bit over the top, as many Hyundai and Kia products are, but I'm past that now. This is a 2022 Hyundai Elantra N, the full-on N car. And for the price, the performance, it's unbelievable. I mean, I don't want to put the keys down. And I have some other interesting vehicles this week. It's just summer and it just happens this way. But anyway, once more, I've said all kinds of things and I haven't really said anything at all. So in the following video, we'll do a quick lap, come on, around the Elantra N. I mean, you've not seen perhaps that many N's out there, but you've seen tons of Elantras, and they do share a lot of things in common, obviously. And then we'll go for a throaty drive, because that's probably one of the most standout things about this car. Oh, and it's pretty quick too. Anyhow, here we go. Okay, so look, design-wise, as I was kind of saying, I mean, I'm over this over-the-top front end that Hyundai has insisted to put on all of their Elantras, you know, because it's so common now that it doesn't even really stand out. The only thing that it's going to end up doing is dating the car, and I've said that a million times. I'm done. So the Elantra N, I mean, you can tell right away that this is not just a common Elantra. I mean, the whole front end business here, the blacked out grille, certainly that logo is a dead giveaway, as is the lower and deeper chin spoiler and all that. The only thing that doesn't really work with the front end is, I mean, Hyundai. What the hell is that? How big does the logo need to be? And that's exaggerated, almost silly looking size-wise. Okay, enough of that. So the Elantra N does have specific 19-inch wheels, and they're so funky. They look fantastic. They are beautiful. And look, everything else about the N, like the rocker, the side sill extensions and the rear spoiler is perfect. I love how it kind of, you know, there isn't a curve on it. It's all straight lines, and how it really marries the shape of the trunk. It really, really looks fantastic. Same thing, you see, the logo, I guess, it's okay here, but why write out Elantra so big? I would do something a little bit more discreet. It's kind of weird. Like, although, or almost as though Hyundai, whatever, is afraid that people will forget that this is an Elantra. I mean, just judging by the tailpipes there, you know that this is going to be, what did I say, a throaty experience. Yeah, and that little faux fake diffuser in the back. Look, visually it's stunning. And I think one of the many things I really like about this car is the fact that this test car is not performance blue, which has been kind of like the N color for most of the brand's N cars. Performance blue, yeah. This is fiery red, if I'm not mistaken, and it works. It matures the car's overall style, look, and appeal as far as I'm concerned. There's an intense blue, if I'm not mistaken, and that also kind of works, but the red and the black, I mean, it's just so classic, sporty, but there's a depth to this color that kind of brings out the mean man in it. Does that even make any sense? No, it really doesn't. But it doesn't have to. Look, pricing for the N line in Canada, just as a comparative with the 1.6 turbo, is $30,254 with freight and prep included. I couldn't find an N line on Hyundai's US website, so I don't know, maybe I missed something, but it doesn't matter. In Canada, the full fat N, as you see it here, is $39,653. A bargain, you think? In the US, it's $32,150. One of the very, very few options is the DCT, because yes, my friends, this is a 6-speed manual, and the 8-speed dual clutch transmission is a $1,600 option. Which, I don't know, sure, it's got a little bit more to it, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, look, do we want to do the trunk? Yeah, let's just do the trunk. There's so much more to say. I don't know why I'm wasting my time on the trunk, but hey, just in case you ever want to know how do you open it. 402 liters. Oh, that's why I wanted to open the trunk. These are signs of business being taken seriously. I love that. And it's a 100% rear folding seat in the back, because, you know, if it was a 60/40, it would make, you know, the 40 and the 60 completely useless. This way, at least, it's just partially useless. Anyway, that's cool. Yeah, I said 402 liters. I'm using it as a partial people carrier. But look, the room in the back, it's an Elantra. It's massive. Okay, now, the important stuff. As part of the N package, you get these incredible seats. I mean, this is serious. They're very thin, but firm, well bolstered, so much support, and they look fantastic. The topic of fantastic look, I mean, you have, the suede is gorgeous. The rest is mostly just Elantra stuff. There's a shot of the steering wheel with a bunch of controls on it. Zoom out and get in. Okay, let's, hopefully this will go smoothly. Oh yeah, clutch in. Way to go, dum-dum. Out of first gear. Okay, so 10 and a quarter combined, beautiful, ultra premium, high end. Look, it's just superb that for under 40 grand, including freight and prep, you get all of this. Okay, the important HVAC, all the buttons are all there, it's all good. Like I said, okay, storage is fine. The handle, I love the styling of the handle, but and I'm just squeezing it. This is part of the things that I was trying to say, that they made decisions to cut back, you know, or I don't know. This was unnecessary. It looks cool, but I think it's a mistake. And the shifter, it's a little bit sloppy. I'm showing this to you now because it won't show in the other portion of the video. But because it's sloppy, the throws are short, as you can see. But because it's sloppy, it's a good thing, kind of. I'm not trying to be a Type R or a Golf R. I'm doing my own thing, and I love that. I'm gonna have to put the AC on because it's way too warm. Okay, visibility, okay, screw visibility. All right, this is what we wanna do. Okay, there are so many, I'm gonna try and work this through my phone. Okay, so there are various N drive modes, which you access and program into these buttons. By the way, this is the rev match button, which needs to be turned off all the time. Admittedly, the pedals, you can't even see if you can see that. The pedals are a little bit far apart. I mean, this is really a big toe, small toe kind of deal. I have average sized feet, maybe a little bit wider or longer than the average 5'10" guy. But yeah, the rev match might be useful if you can't do the big toe, small toe. Heel toe is possible too, but you know, this is the lazy man's way and that's my way. Okay, so coming back up, so you can customize your drive mode. So I have custom 1, again, trying to go through my phone. Custom 2, just have it set up. You also have a default N mode, which activates the sport exhaust. See, there's so many things going on. You know, rev matching can be turned off or on at all times, which is great, and you can program it on or off if, you know, that's the type of thing you want to do. And the suspension is adaptive, well, not adaptive, adjustable. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a few moments. And then you have your 3 programmed drive modes, which are, there's this sport, which is kind of useful and not that much at the same time. Eco is pointless. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you would have a normal mode and then go straight into your N drive modes, which is, I think, the way it should be, but it doesn't matter. And forget it. I got nothing else to say to that. The exhaust, rev matching, where's the exhaust? I can't see the exhaust. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I thought it was part of it. There it is, right there, where you can customize it too. There are a lot of things going on. But this is probably the most important, and this for your neighbors. Oh yeah, electronic limited slip differential. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go for a drive right now. Actually, just before we drive off, I want you to hear the active sport exhaust in its deepest growl. Yeah, that's some serious business, and I promise you it backfires and makes all kinds of noise. I'm not sure if we're going to hear this as we take off on the inside of the car. Well, we do, but I don't know if it'll make it through the speaker. Anyhow, let's find out. Okay, this is a good thing. While I'm at a stoplight, I can try and not get overly excited about what I'm doing because this car just makes me act like a 12-year-old with a driver's license, and it can really be terrible at times. Well, I guess the light was shorter than I thought. Okay, so I'm gonna try, you know what, forget it. The DCT, dual clutch transmission, obviously, if you opt for that, you'll get the faster version of the Elantra N. In launch mode, it'll do the 0-100 km/h sprint in 5.3 seconds, which is considerable, or very fast. That's what I'm trying to say. For the car, I mean, it happens. It just really happens. I've not launched the Elantra N because the 1 or 2 times that I've launched cars in the past, things went wrong. I'll leave it at that. Point is that the DCT 5.3, I'm thinking the 6-speed manual is probably a 6 or a close to 6-second car to 100 kilometers an hour, obviously. So 2-liter turbo, that's the big difference with the N line, which still has the 1.6. It puts out 276 horsepower from 55 to 6,000 RPM. So with the, I think it's the Grin something or rather, with the DCT, you get an extra 10 horsepower for a short period of time. 10 horsepower. It won't make much of a difference, obviously. This is what I mean by doing all kinds of silly things. It's so fun. At 289 pound-feet of torque from 2100 to 4700 RPM. So that's a serious serving of torque. I mean, the Type R, this FK8, has 295 torques. So it's very, very close. It's still relatively high RPM to get max torque, but you know what, it doesn't matter, because even if it's only 80% of it at 1200 RPM or 1500, it doesn't matter. That's a lot of power. Unfortunately, and I've experienced this many times, if you're just driving and not hammering it, kind of like I just did, I was well below the speed limit, I promise, there is some lag. I mean, the gap between max torque and max HP isn't that big, but I'm thinking a lot of it is kind of programmed, or at least it feels computered in, as opposed to a loss of boost. You're gonna ruin my curve. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Versa. Anyhow, it's quick, and the engine is responsive, and that's a good segue into the dampers. Now, if you remember, and I'm sure about the N2, I have the adjustable dampers set in their most comfortable setting. Good Lord, does it feel good. In its most comfortable setting, and believe me, that bump just there in its most comfortable setting, I mean, it's not crashy or thrashy or anything like that, but it's far from being supple. In the other modes, it can get a little uncomfortable, especially on my, greater Montreal area roads. It kind of, that's just the reality of where I live. Yeah, heel toe, the shifter. I mean, I love that it doesn't schnick in like my Type R or even a Golf R. It goes in like a regular car, and for some strange reason, I love that. A brake pedal feels fantastic. I mean, this has got vented discs all around. Big step up over the CTR, I'll say that much. But brake pedal feel is about on par for both. And most surprisingly, steering. The Elantra N lines and Elantra N has by far the best feeling, most responsive, and best tuned response of any Korean car, many Japanese cars, even German cars. I'm not kidding, and it's better than a Veloster N. I've said this in the past before about the N line, and that's because no matter what setting it's in, comfort or sport or whatever, it's immediate. There is no on-center play. It's right there. I'm not gonna do eco because it's stupid, but normal. It's like a one-to-one reaction. It's immediate all the time. And when I go into my N2, for example, their custom N2, and I have steering at 2/3 sport, if you will. And it's just great. I think N1 I have it full sport. Yeah, full sport. It's really, really good. Downsides to the ride? There aren't any. Really, or to the drive, there aren't any. I mean, it's not as refined as a Golf or even my FK8, and it will certainly be a notch below or 4 notches below the FL5 CTR, but again, that's kind of part of its charm. It's noisy in here, it's buzzy, it's tinny, but it means that I'm so into it. This is like all the modern tech, kind of, but in a shell, despite it being reinforced and very, very stiff, in a shell that's from 15 to 20 years ago. At least the graininess, the NVH levels in here remind me of something that is much older. And I don't think the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S have anything to do with that, because those are damn good tires. I don't know if you can tell, but I am in love with this car. Oh yeah, I didn't do any backfires, huh? Nah, you can't hear them. There's just too much going on. Oh, and the ELSD corner carving thing, it really, really works, unfortunately. There's a Gulf in front of me, so I can't really just hammer it and let it pull me out, but it works really, really well. You can feel the inside wheel skipping, looking for grip. Again, I love this car. And at 39 grand or whatever in Canada, I mean, it's $5,000 or $7,000 less than a Golf R, and probably going to be a solid $10K cheaper than a CTR. And for that, this is a hell of a bargain. It is a wonderful, wonderful car. I wish I could have tracked it. Thank you, Hyundai.